And here we go. Welcome to off-grid solar with supercapacitors or incorporating supercapacitors. I've been threatening to make a video for a while, and here it is. So here's my solar shed, here's my system. I'm running a bank of supercapacitors right by here. I bought them second-hand. There's about 68 volt. Each cell is 2.8 volt at 3000 farads. If anybody understands farads, please let me know. I've got over 1500 amp hours, or around 1500 amp hours of batteries at 48 volt. I have a bank of IFLA, the best bang for buck for solar, we all know it. And I have another bank of 300 amp hours of semi-tractions, which were what I ran before I got the IFLAs. These are sort of IFLAs. These are rated down to 25% depth of discharge capacity. And they are just now sat there as a power bank. They just sat in float when I if ever these get low, which they haven't yet, I can then just swap over to the semi-tractions, and it's like a power bank for charging your phone or something. There's a few things that people don't know about using supercapacitors or ultracapacitors in the solar system. When I first started looking, I couldn't find anything at all. It's kind of like impossible to find information on it. And then you get all the naysayers, the people that aren't quite like us, that say, it's impossible, what's the point? They don't store any energy. There's a huge point. Supercapacitors are extremely good at doing everything that a flooded lead acid battery is rubbish at. Flooded lead acid batteries are extremely good at doing everything that the supercapacitor is bad at. So when you put the two together, you've got a superb combination. In my opinion, way better bang for buck than lithium or any of the new technologies out there. I actually did look into lithium titanate oxide before going this route, but the expense for the amp hours was absolutely insanity. I would have had to have spent somewhere in the region of 12,000 euros to get 200 amp hours of 48 volts. As opposed to my entire system, including solar panels, everything, the whole shaboodle, 2 inverters, a whole lot, worked out at somewhere around 7,000 euros for 1,500 amp hours. It's a no-brainer. Lifetime of all of this, who knows, 10 to 20 years maybe? You know, no lithium's going to last that. You know, so comparably, this is the best bang for buck and the best way to do things, in my opinion. So, currently, the inverter is switched off. It's cloudy. So, the inverter is switched off, so only the charge controller is working. I've disconnected my battery banks. You can see here and here, there's no battery bank connected at all. So, I am just running purely off sunshine power and the supercapacitors right by here. That's all that's running at the moment. I have no loads running. I've disconnected absolutely everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 400 watt rice cooker, and I'm not going to plug it in just yet, and I'm going to switch on my inverter, and we're going to see how long this tiny little bank of supercapacitors runs 400 watts, plus also take into consideration that my inverter will be, when I switch it on, sucking about 60 watts. So 450, 460 watts is what we're going to be running, and we're going to see how long that runs for, okay? So what I'll do is I'll actually plug the rice cooker in now, but there's no power there, and I will rotate the camera. Can I rotate it while I'm playing? Apparently not. Okay, so I will rotate the camera this way, and hopefully you can see what's going on here. So here we go, the sun's come out. Look at that, the sun's come out, so not really. Okay, so we're currently running at 54.5 volts. I am going to kill my PV. So I've just killed the PV. So there you go, you can see there's no PV at all now. So now we are just running purely off the supercaps. There's no load. Let me switch on the inverter, and I'm going to hold the button down on the rice cooker so it's running full bore. Okay, here we go. So we are now putting, in fact, if I wait 1 second, I suppose you can see it anyway. So the inverter's running at about 8%. I'm guessing we're putting probably somewhere 450 to 500 watts. So this is now, everything is powered just purely off the supercapacitors. I was thinking to do this experiment with a large load, like about 2 kilowatts, like a hairdryer or something, but I couldn't find one, and I took my heat gun back to the workshop. So you can see we're running 450, 500 watts, and the supercaps still going. Bear in mind that the supercaps can release this energy way faster, way faster, if that's what's on demand. So I'm just going to wait. I'm going to sit here. There we go. That was my low voltage cutoff point. So I have my low voltage cutoff point set to 48 volt because I'm a bit anal like that. I like to look after my batteries in it. So I'm going to flick the solar back on, which I've done. Oh, look, and the sun's just come out. So the solar is back on. Let me move this lead. So the solar is back on. Here we go. And you will see in a second. Okay, so you will see how fast now that the supercapacitors absorb the energy and charge back up again, as opposed to batteries and compared to batteries. And bear in mind that I've only got a very small solar array connected at the moment. I'm just on a temporary setup still. So I've only got 3 kilowatt of solar. Oh, and I was going to say, also got the rice cooker still plugged in, but it's the inverter's off, so there's no current draw from the inverter. And it's only just a little bit sunny outside, so I'm probably only putting, let's have a quick look. Okay, my inverter just clicked back on again. So I'm only actually pulling 381 watts from solar. So that's all I'm getting from solar at the moment, which is nothing. Amps. So 1.4 amps from solar. 7.3 amps are going into the supercaps. And we are back up to nearly 54 volts. So maybe that's kind of a semi-okay demonstration as to what supercaps are capable of, and how they work, and hopefully this might educate quite a few of you. I know that Todd, I know that you are definitely on the right track with your experiments with this, 100% on the right track. As regards to incorporating a supercap to every battery, I'm not sure about that, but hey, I'm no astrophysicist or electrical engineer. So the short story is, it's a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer. For some of you guys out there that are running the huge packs of IFLAs, I'm actually not so sure if the expense to benefit really weighs it out. Though mine weren't expensive. I bought mine secondhand from a data center in Germany, and they cost me €400. If the, I mean, if they can extend an IFLA life, let's say 200%, and you can get 30 to 40 years out of them, then it's a no-brainer, an absolute no-brainer. But unfortunately, I've noticed that the price of supercaps has gone up a lot. Though I'm sure there are still good deals out there. So hey, anyway, promised a video. You got it. My first time. Ciao.